Hello, YouTube. This is the Galley La Podcast, and today we are going to be reviewing the One Piece Manga Chapter 1157, The Legendary Bar. I am Akainu Fanboy. The other guy is Geboss. Please like and subscribe if you have not. And leave your comments below and your thoughts on the chapter and the thoughts on our review. So, Yamato cover story. Could care less.
Volume 39. It's been going on for so long.
Yep. Bad people. So we continue on to good people, the Rocks Pirates. Just kidding.
The best of people.
So they are, robbing a charity federation here.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting all the haul and everything, and they're like, "Oh no, they were just embezzling it for later, basically." And I guess I do like scenes like this occasionally because I think, especially since the most recent couple of arcs, we've just been seeing nothing but the negatives about the world governments and the Navy obeying them. But now we're starting to see but as Luffy said in when he first met Okashi, usually most of the time the Marines are the good guys and the pirates are the bad guys, and so it's kind of good every once in a while to see the pirates doing piratey stuff and evil stuff,
But I mean that point is brought up later on in this chapter with when Herald's talking with Rocks.
Right. So I think with Oda, he does his balancing act because, to be fair, in Wano, it was a pirate crew that just did horrific crap, basically. And so the main focus was just a pirate crew doing terrible stuff, So basically right here we have the Rocks Pirates going crazy, and it was so funny when Shiki threw that bomb down there though, with Whitebeard and Kaido. I thought that was pretty good content.
Yeah, I like this whole beginning section here, where everyone's kind of screwing over each other on the Rocks Pirate side because they're not friends. They're just there because of Rocks. One can say it's very similar to the Blackbeard Pirates, right? In a way, yeah, but I feel like they have they believe more in Teach, and I feel like they have a closer sense of bond than these guys. I feel, but I could be misreading that. But yeah, I mean we don't see them when Silver Axe is who's the one who threw the bomb in there, and he's yelling at Shiki and everything. We don't really see that with the Blackbeard Pirates, the open hostility.
I do think they're just kind of more. They're similar in the sense where they are just not loyal and they're not friends. They're not Nakama. Shoot. I think I'm trying to remember a line like that where Blackbeard said something to that effect. They're only unified by the One Piece and nothing else.
Yeah, that's
when he was talking with Kuzan.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I did kind of find that interesting because you kind of have people who do have honor, for example Whitebeard, and you kind of get that scene right here where Whitebeard just goes crazy with the Quake fruit.
Yeah. And you kind of see him almost mentoring Kaido, oh, you better make sure you choose your devil fruit wisely because you're stuck with it. Yeah, I kind of like that little scene, and then because I think out of all of them, probably Whitebeard's the most moral guy.
Totally. And I think. Kind of looking at this whole set right here though, I do kind of find it interesting how so Kaido seems a little less jaded here. I know his flashback was horrendous, but he doesn't seem as suicidal or melancholy about the world, basically, he actually still seems optimistic, bright-eyed for the world,
maybe not bright-eyed, but I think he's showing more personality, but I don't know. I feel like he's gonna get more toward his current attitude when he after Rox's death or defeat at God Valley.
Mm-hmm. You're still holding out to the title actually of character development and sufficient flashback.
I mean, if at any point, if there's any point where that's going to take place, it's going to be during this flashback.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. So we'll have to see if that happens, and then, but it was kind of interesting to see that rivalry kind of get brought back up again with Kyo and Shiki, basically. So I'm wondering if anything's going to kind of develop further about that,
Yeah.
And we see Captain John as well. So we're starting to see a lot of these pirates, and I think it's kind of like fair to say like Whitebeard got the ability from he had his double fruit ability before he got on the Rocks Pirates, because I feel like they would make it more pronounced if during this flashback, like if you were to come across it, they would have showed it in this flashback, so I think there's a presumption that Whitebeard already possessed this fruit before this whole thing.
Yeah. And I think it would be interesting to see. We kind of get an inkling of how strong Rox is. Like we skip ahead a few pages, and it's going over the record of all the countries he's raided, all the ships he's sunken, and they're saying that like this is usually referred to as the era of Rox. But I think it would be interesting to see, like, he got a majority of his crew through the Davy Back fight, and he has to be like seriously strong to do that. I wonder if the anime is going to potentially show like anything. Like I would assume that Whitebeard would have been a captain before this, So if he lost to Rox, I would like to see that.
Yeah, and I do kind of find it interesting when the Navy starts showing up. The Marines are everywhere. That was fast. Did someone leak our plans? So do you think there is actually a potential traitor on his crew, or is this kind of just more of a callback to Mihawk not wanting to be bothered by all the Marines and the government throughout the world? And I think even in the Odin flashback, Odin talks about this with Whitebeard. Like the Marines are never ending. You can never like defeat them truly. So do you think it's more an indication of that theme of the overpowering stature of the world government, or is there actually a mole on their ship?
I think Oda wouldn't be as direct with his wording if he wasn't implying something, because there's a theory that I was reading that potentially it could be Silver Axe who's the traitor. And I'll get more into that when we get to the end of the chapter, because I have a lot to say about the ending of the chapter. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he could be like a type of a sword agent, if you will, potentially.
Maybe, but we'll.
Yeah. We don't know how far it goes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, so he kind of goes through his reputation here, and so it was kind of interesting though, like how much Oda, you're right, like he talks about the era of Rocks, like so era of Rocks, and then we gotta get to the Goldie Roger stage. But it's funny because the era of Rocks really isn't like articulated by the government that much. But I mean, we haven't seen the end of this story so much, but I would still argue that Roger was way more of a nuisance and a threat than Rocks was, but maybe Rocks was more easy to cover him up rather than it was like basically impossible to cover up what Roger did.
I don't know, because I think he's more in terms of like like a kid parallel to Luffy. Like, he's done more heinous things, you know, like raids, sinking ships, ports reduced to ash, a nation brought to ruin. Yeah, it's definitely something that I don't know if Roger is the type to do those things, you know?
Well, in the sense that Rogers is more of a threat to the government.
I mean, in terms of knowledge in the future, because he hasn't been to Laugh Tale, obviously, yet, but yeah.
Well, the Will of D, you know, I mean, well, I know Zebek does have it as well, but I think there's like, I don't know, there's kind of been more of a focus on, like, you know, they wanted to go out of their way to execute Roger's son, but maybe if they knew who Teach was, then they would do the same to Teach, you know?
Yeah.
And they wouldn't just let him be a warlord, you know?
Well,
I do find that there is like...
I think it's because Roger was the king of the pirates. He was the one who started off the age, and he's the one who knew the most about the world, the history of the world, and that's why he was more of a threat more than like going around plundering things. So in that sense.
And that's what I mean, like, yes. So that's what I was trying to articulate. But I do kind of find it like interesting though, is like both Blackbeard and Ace were sons of like captains who started their own eras, right? And Ace kind of refused to be a warlord, but Blackbeard then became a warlord. You know, and I just kind of find like a funny irony in that too. So it's kind of like the government like made its own bed when it came to the Rocks and Teach area, you know. But I feel like they were a lot more efficient with taking down the Roger bloodline, if you will, and the Whitebeard, you know. So yeah, it's kind of like a mixed record, I think, for the government in that sense, you know. Or actually, that's more the Navy putting in the work, not really the government at that point, you know. But that's neither here nor there. But so now, speaking of the government, when we get to this whole idea of with Harold, and he's moving in, and he gets to see Cypher Pole being Cypher Pole. Yeah.
Well, before we do that, I just want to say we do get to see a little bit of Rox's swordsmanship. It looks like he's doing like a miniature version of like the Hakoku attack that Dory and Broggy do, where he's like just launching just pure force. But I thought that was interesting because he has that's a giant technique, and he has his relationship with Harald. But speaking of Harald, we go into this scene here.
Yeah, so we get to see Cypherpole doing the Cypherpole stuff. And he's basically saying, you know, hey, you're going to hurt your membership if you intervene on behalf of a non-affiliated country. And so I'm not sure if Cypherpole is doing something that was illegal or they're doing the government's will. It's kind of hard to say.
I don't know if it's Cypherpole. It might just be Marines, but
just a little like tuxedo and everything like that. It seems more Cypherpole-ish.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen Bogart be in the suit, so.
Well, also as a world government still, if you look at it.
Yeah.
In the next panel.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's kind of more Cypherpole right here.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't matter, but.
Yeah, so anyways, I kind of think like, I'm not sure they're doing shady stuff, or obviously maybe the government does a lot of shady stuff too. But so Harold gets pissed off, and I guess like what I find interesting though, just like when it comes to comparing and contrasting. Yeah, so just we're going to the section now where you're talking about with the Marines and everything like that too. So Harold is kind of very much a kind of the line of the GARP, and I know a lot of people in the community do not have patience with that, you know. Like this idea, like, yeah, institutions are fallen, they're broken, but there's still a lot of good you can achieve within the institution, basically, you know. And Harold kind of subscribes to that too, and I think that's, you see his wife in the same panel too in that context, so he gets that from the wife, you know, this kind of idea, like, hey, you know, if we were all Marines, we could do a lot of good for the world. And it's like, it's kind of funny because he's speaking to like a devil, which is Rocks right here, you know?
Yeah. But I mean, at the same time, you know that the world government is just looking for their power for their own means at the end of the day. I mean, even though they would disguise it as altruism, you know, they would.
Yeah, I think
they would use some of their power for good, but I feel like they would be doing a lot more shady stuff if they had all that power.
I agree. I mean, I think Harald himself is making the distinction between the world government ship he destroyed and the ones like the politicians misusing him, and then like the good the Marines do, basically. You know, and I mean that's the distinction Garp makes too. Like he loves the Marines. Like Garp's not just like how could I say it? Like this vigilante, you know, doing good for the sake of doing good. Like Garp is proud of being a Marine and he believes in what the Marines stand for, you know, but he hates like the politicians, you know. So I mean, like I think like at a symbolic level it is really interesting to see how Rocks and like the world government leaders are both demons in a way, but like kind of like let's just say orderly evil and then chaotic evil, I guess. Maybe would be a way of looking at it, you know. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's kind of, I don't know. I think it's refreshing to get characters kind of like Harald and then Garp too, because I think we've had too many characters that get like, they just want to burn the whole system down. It's kind of cool to get more pragmatic characters like Harald and Garp in the story, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's interesting that we have the, we go over to the next scene and we have like young Garp, Sengoku, and Suru talking with your goat Kong.
Go Kong, bro. Wong.
Admiral Kong. Confirmed Admiral level.
Confirmed Admiral level.
But I mean, they all kind of have different takes on the Elbaf situation. Like we see Sengoku being kind of more like, oh well, Harald's trying to learn from the past and be better, so he's gonna lead them down a better path. And then Suru's like, oh, we need to get them on our side before Rocks gets them on their side. So I feel like she would be like more forceful in trying to get them to join. And then Garp's like, why aren't they just let him join? And then Kong's like, if it were up to me, it wouldn't be an issue. But yeah. But I think it's...
he looks so much like Luffy here. The younger Garp. Like, way more than usual.
Yeah. But, yeah, I did think it was kind of interesting how you kind of have the different viewpoints of... or approaches to what's going on. But, yeah, the Garps looking to use their strength for good, it seems. Kind of like what Harald does.
I think he kind of comes off as like kind of the blunt Luffy at this point. He's like stuffing his face, like, but that's all, huh? You know, it's just like, it's very Luffy-esque, you know?
He has no time for politics.
No. And I think, it's kind of interesting because you kind of see, I mean, this is like one of two scenes in the story where we see one scene with Kong in episode 0, but we don't see him. We just hear him talk and yell at Garp as Fleet Admiral in that episode. But because the only other time we see him as Commander-in-Chief where he's very stoic and serious, basically, you know, and then here he's kind of more frantic, you know, so and then so I don't know. I think it's cool to see Sengoku younger and everything like that too. And I think this would be man, it's so hard to keep the time. I'm not sure if this would be after or before the Rocinante incident. I think this is before.
Oh no, this is definitely before because
Law's
not that old, and Law was a kid.
Yeah, Suru looks a lot younger than in that one flashback too. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So I think like a lot of them have not really experienced heartache. I mean, Asura, we haven't really developed her character that much, but obviously Son Goku and Garp get a lot more heartache as time passes in the story with their positions, due to their pragmatic positions and all that, So it's going to take time for that. But yeah, Kong, I was just going to say for the record, Kong was a fleet admiral just like Son Goku, but it doesn't say future fleet admirals, it's future commander-in-chief. Yeah. So that's even a higher level. Just gonna put that out there. But
you keep sticking him in your top 30 list. with this being like his pop off. This is his second manga appearance.
He's gonna pop off, bro, in this flashback. He's gonna 3-shot Whitebeard, bro. Just watch. It's gonna happen.
Sure. Yeah, he's gonna be at God Valley, surprisly.
Dude, that'd be amazing. The community would recover from it.
Yeah.
So I think that's about it. But no, it's cool. It is crazy to think how many stages of age we've seen these three big Navy stars. Just think about throughout the story, how many times we've seen them at various ages throughout their lives. It's kind of crazy the amount of portrayal they get in the story. So, and Oda makes them look unique in every age too. So I don't know. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's good at designing characters.
Yeah, and I think with those three too, I think he has a special place in his heart too. Yeah. So I know this is a pirate story, but he does kind of like the Navy characters a lot too. So yeah, so we get to the Kuja pirate part. Yeah. Yeah. So do you want to talk about the Shaki thing and all that?
Well, we'll go through everything because I have some stuff to say. Once we get everything done.
You can lead this part.
So now we're on Hachinosu Pirate Island 42 years ago, and Shaki has quit being the captain of the Kuja Pirates, which is strange because I know a number of years have passed, but we never got the thing that said Gloriosa stepped down and now Shaki became the captain, because we see Gloriosa here at Pirate Island talking with Big Mom. And I mean, personally, I would have liked to have seen at least some acknowledgement that Gloriosa joined and why she joined. Whether it was a Davy back fight or something. Because going from one chapter to the next kind of feels sudden, But yeah, you get the announcement that Shaki's retiring as a pirate, and then I do enjoy the scenes following this where Gloriosa's talking with Big Mom, and they're talking about their love lives, and straight up Gloriosa's roasting Big Mom. Saying she's just cranking out those kids like popcorn, because we see the triplets of Katakuri and Oven and Daifuku, which I thought was interesting. So do you think that Katakuri's flashback where Brule got beat up was on Pirate Island?
Yeah, that's a really great thought. Yeah, because most likely Whole Cake was not created at this point.
Yeah.
Almost assuredly. Yeah.
But yeah, Gloriosa's wondering why Shaki quit, and because they don't see her getting lovesick. And then we see the interaction with Stussy and Whitebeard, saying that Whitebeard's never been in love with Stussy. Which I thought was funny, but I still think that they got together at some point, and Weevil is Whitebeard's biological son. I do believe that, even though there's the thing with the clones, because Stussy was involved with Mads. But I think it would be better if Weevil was Whitebeard's biological son. What about you?
I agree, because Green Bull stocks have just went up as a result.
It's all about the agenda.
The agendas. No, I'm joking though, but I do like it. Yeah, I think it makes sense now. Because I think nobody bought it. Like, okay, this is just crap, you know. But I think it's making more sense. I mean, we don't really see too much of Stussie's character back then, really, aside from her attraction with Whitebeard. We don't really get the greedy money.
Mm-hmm.
Or really just kind of the cold cowness where she's like, yeah, wipe out all the beloved ones that Whitebeard held, you know, as his family. Unless she's like super jealous. I guess you could see that right here because she obviously just wants Whitebeard's affection, and maybe she got jealous that he had all these kids and kind of he ditched his actual kid, you know, and just focused on all of his other children, you know. So who knows, maybe it could be a nice developed a little character arc there, which I want to be opposed to. So so anyways, so do you want to talk about the next panel right here, because I know you had a lot of thoughts here.
So we get a Shaki rolling up to Pirate Island and saying like, oh, well, the government's going to be coming after me because I'm a notorious pirate, so even if I retire, they're going to be after me, so I might as well set up shop here. Which, I mean, it makes sense from a practicality standpoint. And then we see, like, I guess this was her first rip-off bar. And we see her opening it, and all the Rocks pirates like falling in love with her and treating her like she's a goddess or an angel, even Whitebeard. And what annoys me is that it says the inhabitants of Hachinosu came to covet her as a treasure, an irreplaceable crown jewel. Unfortunately, a treasure is always the inevitable target of theft. And then, before I get into that, we have it looks like it's Mars of the Five Elders. He's saying like, oh, Harald, you can join the world government, but you have to kill Rocks for us. So I think that's going to point toward potentially Rocks being at God Valley, which could tie nicely into the flashback, like incorporating God Valley into it.
Yes.
But yeah, do you have any other thoughts on that? Because I have a lot of thoughts on the treasure thing.
So the worst person we know made a great point, known as Jumper. So if you examine on the panel right there, the second to last one, if you look to the character to the far left, there's speculation going around where that is a Gorosei member that we haven't met before, that looks a lot different than what was it, Jupiter, I think was the name of them.
Yeah, I think in the anime,
the youngest one.
In the anime they make him look younger with like a different hair color, but I think in the manga they all have white hair. But I don't know. He's probably the youngest.
Yeah, so I guess there's speculation that is like an old member that was killed off because of the Gods Valley incident, and then Jupiter took his position later on. I think like that's kind of the running theory there. I will kind of say, I think, no, maybe I'm going to say this point after you make your point. Okay. But I will say that when it comes to Rocks and everything, I think they're, I don't know, I feel like it would cheapen Garp and Roger's victory if he did like severely wound Rocks at all. So I don't know.
Harald?
Sorry, yeah, Harald, yeah. So I don't know how I would feel about that. And Harald doesn't seem like the type to do it also. But then again, Harald hasn't officially joined Rocks either.
That's true. I mean, I could see it go either way.
Yeah. So wait, have we ever gotten hard confirmation that he eventually joins Rocks?
No.
Okay. So yeah, wondering why he would be at God's Valley though. I don't know. There's definitely a lot of different ways, and this flashback's been moving a lot quicker too than I expected.
Yeah, I mean we're jumping years and decades at some points,
Mm-hmm.
but
you go on your point.
yeah. So, I read a theory that before this chapter came out that it's going to be Shaki that was kidnapped from Pirate Island and held at God's Valley because they were examining they kidnapped the treasure or the crown jewel of Pirate Island. And they were examining the phrasing that they were using back in I think it's chapter 1096. Like the phrasing that Garp was using and Roger and the Rocks Pirates, especially one that said Linlin, the treasure's gonna be of no use to you. So just personally, if God's Valley is just a huge simp war for Shaki, I think this is one of the worst writing decisions that Oda has ever made. I just don't like the just the amount that characters change their personalities, fawning over certain characters. Like you see that with Boa Hancock. I do not like that part of her character where she's simping over Luffy and changes her personality. I like her more cold personality and everything. And the other one that I can think off the top of my head is Hibana in Fire Force. She was this sadistic character who falls in love with the main character, and she acts like the same. She acts like a normal character outside of the main character, outside of interacting with the main character, which I don't know. I just don't like this trope. And if it's just a giant simp war that drew Roger and Rocks to have this epic clash at God's Valley that's legendary, I don't know. I mean, I've seen people comparing she's the Helen of Troy, and this is a whole parallel to that point. I still personally would not like it, but I'd like to hear what you think, because
so I would agree in the sense that
I think it diminishes some of the characters.
And I would say I think it's something that we consider God's Valley something very dark, very mysterious, and very groundbreaking. Seemed to be something that's more comical, and I wouldn't really like that too much, because I think, as you said it as a gag, so it's not really how can I say this? It's not really let's just say Roger and Rose, basically, where it's kind of more of a serious, tragic relationship of we're trying to have this marriage, but then Roger's gonna get executed and then we have to hide Ace. So there's a lot of love there, right? So, or let's just say Kuma's relationship, too, very tragic and very serious. So there is a way Oda could do that, but he hasn't established that with Shaki here. So I wouldn't say the category of let's just say the Helen of Troy example is always bad, but this is done in a more comedic way, which I wouldn't really like that. And so usually when it comes to romantic love, it's also very, very minor, more of a foundational background thing. It isn't what the whole story is ordered towards. It's usually ordered towards adventure at the end of the day, or freedom, It's not romantic love is the highest thing in itself. but usually like romantic love and that self-sacrifice leads to freedom as like that highest good, I guess, in the One Piece world, you know. So that's why I kind of not like a super big fan of it if it were to happen that way too. I guess maybe so let's just say if the world government captures her and then they go after her, try to bring her back. Maybe, I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, I guess?
So I think the theory that I saw was that Silver Axe would be like the mole in the Rocks Pirates, and he would be the one to kidnap Shaggy, because I don't think we saw like a clear shot of him in the Rocks lineup back at God Valley in 1096. So I think that's where that theory stems from. But I mean, it kind of would make it. I mean, it's however Oda wants to write it, but just the way that he's like you said, God Valley is like this epic point in the story where like this big era-defining clash took place, and if it was facilitated by this, because we had a perfectly reasonable explanation why they could have showed up to begin with, because Ginny sent out the signal to all the pirates that this event was happening at God's Valley and there was going to be treasure there. And I mean, it would be a subversion of expectations, our favorite phrase, that that's not the treasure that they were after. But like, we do see like Big Mom going after the devil fruit, so I mean that's potentially what we could have been led to have thought. But if they were going after Shaggy, then it would make sense that Big Mom wasn't interested in her, so she was going after the devil fruits. But
yeah,
I mean, just it feels
so
also
like
kind of before you say something, it feels kind of sudden because we just got introduced to Shaggy in this capacity like last chapter, like her being the biggest like hottie in the universe. But yeah, you go ahead.
Yeah, so like let's just say if Portugas D. Rose was kidnapped, I would be like, okay, yeah, I can see why Roger would go for it. I think if Rox is honestly, we haven't had a, let's just say, I think some people would disagree with me on this. I don't think Rox has had that much characterization at all so far. We just know that he's powerful. Like,
I don't know. I do like his character, but maybe you're right that like characterization wise, maybe he's not as deep as some of the other characters that we have. But yeah, so like for Black, I mean obviously we've had a lot more time with Blackbeard, but Blackbeard's characteristics have been really fleshed out, and so this is like only the way I can really judge Rox, because we don't really have much in the way to judge what Rox's character would do in this context. But Blackbeard would not do this for a girl. You know, like it is purely superfluous, you know, like woman in his eyes. Like he like hits on Bonnie, but then Bonnie says no to him, which looks a lot worse. Looking back at in
the
retrospect.
whole situation, you know. And then he's like, okay, now I'm just gonna give you over to the Navy.
That's why. That's
like
why
you lost your.
I was gonna say that's why Akainu was the good guy in that scene.
He was. He's always the good guy, bro. Always. I'm joking. Don't clip that. But no, it's, you know, saving those kids, you know, from the evil, you know. But like, anyways, and then like when it comes to Hancock too, right? He was hitting on Hancock. And then, like, Hancock said no. He's like, okay, now I'm just going to kill everybody here. You know? Right? Like, that is, like, kind of the more callous pirate. But to be fair, we haven't really seen that much at all from Rox in that capacity. The ruthless part of Rox, you know?
I mean, we did get kind of described his feats during this, and we do see him like attack like Kid Loki, just kind of to provoke Harald.
Yeah, I just think it's kind of okay. Like, it's bad, but it still kind of comes off as a cartoon villainy a little bit. Like, it's scummy, but it's not like Doflamingo, I chopped off my dad's head and I'm going to give it to the Celestials.
Mm-hmm.
It's not at that level, you know what I mean? Or Teach murdering Thatch to get a fruit, you know, and then he turns in another one of his crew members, and then he ends up killing his captain, you know? Like, we've really seen nothing compelling like that on the character level from Rock so far. You know, this is kind of more like, hey, we're showcasing the Rock's pirates, and we're showcasing that Rock is very powerful. That's mainly what Oda's articulated. So, I don't know. I feel like the only way I can judge the motivation of Rox's character right now is like to basically base it off of Blackbeard, and I don't think Blackbeard would do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, if we're supposed to draw like parallels with like father and son stuff.
And that's all we can do in this situation because we don't know much more of Rox except from what we've articulated here.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's that much of an idiot to be like, I'm going to simp so hard for this girl that I'm going to risk everything, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't, okay, sorry. We did see one thing with his character when he said Emu, like, I'm going to, like, come back here, you know? And do you think he's really going to risk that just for Shaki? For a gag, basically?
True. Yeah.
So, if Oda does that, one, I think is bad writing, if that does end up coming the way you're saying it. But I think it's less likely to happen now that I've kind of articulated a reason out in real time here to myself. So
yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like that's the way it's going. Just set up like Oda's straight up saying like, oh well, it's prone to theft, the jewel, and that's what she is. And straight up Roger saying, or Garp was saying to, was Sengoku or Kong? It was someone that the government took the treasure of Hachinosu. So I just think at this point that's going to be like that. But I don't think that it's a good decision to do it this way. Because you already had...
so it would be out of character for Rox,
yeah, and I think Roger to an extent, but because just the way that they would be acting would be like if the whole crew was Sanji, you know?
Yeah,
like Sanji, it's just a gag. I mean, and there's deeper meaning to the gag. Whereas this, it's like, oh, everyone's just simping for Shaki just because she's so beautiful. And you really didn't get that with characters with a lot of depth besides like Sanji. You see it with like one-off characters who like saw like Boa Hancock or whatever. But like,
can I intervene real quick because I have a really profound point.
Yeah.
Momonga, Kobe over Rox and Roger.
True.
Momonga's like, oh, she's attractive. I'm gonna stab my freaking hand with a knife right now.
Yeah.
Kobe, I have such a hard resilience to this right now. It's not gonna even affect me. He's over Rox and Roger. That's my only point, and it's 100% true. And you cannot discount those beats. Yeah. That is the end.
I mean, where's the lie? You can't find it.
No.
But yeah, I think it would be a disservice to like Rox and Roger as characters. But I don't know. I'd like to hear arguments that say like this is an interesting and good plot point for the story.
Do you think there could be like a double meaning with her where she actually has like a crazy ability like Pudding?
Maybe. I mean, it wouldn't obviously be Pudding's because she would still have it because she's still alive. But I don't know.
But that's unique to the species. But yeah. I don't think she's a three-eyed person either. So.
Yeah. But it also wouldn't really make sense. I don't know. It just seems weird that they like Shaki has like Shaki's ripoff bar on Sabaody, and I guess the government knows where she's at, but maybe because Rayleigh's there that they don't want to do anything, because they know where Rayleigh's at too. So that's always been kind of a weird point. That they're kind of leaving them alone.
A little bit.
But
especially since they executed so much of Roger's crew already,
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe we'll get more context. But I mean, we have a break next week, which is chapter break for like the past couple months.
Yeah. So I think one little theory I kind of want to pose this out here. This ends up happening. Hancock getting kidnapped is kind of more likely to happen, and I think that was kind of like a theory going on for a while. As soon as she stopped being a warlord, she would have been kidnapped, and then they kind of got interrupted with Rayleigh and stuff, but which is kind of funny again looking back at all this stuff, but the connections in that sense, but I think it would be interesting if it brings up a type of God Valley-esque incident where Luffy tries to rescue Hancock, in that scenario. So, yeah, I'm curious to see how that can happen. I mean, I think that works well. Hancock's character being a prisoner to the government, etc. Yeah. There you go.
I mean, there's only so much story left. Because we also have like Garp being kidnapped too, or being held by the pirate Blackbeard and everything. So I don't know. It's kind of a reverse situation if you think about it. Because now Pirate Island is holding something important to the Navy and the world government.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
God's Valley 2 at Pirate Island, except Garp is Shaki.
Or Ace, if you look at it in a certain sense.
Yeah, but yeah, I just think that this is a fumble from Oda. That kind of, in retrospect, or retroactively, would make parts of the story worse. But we'll just have to wait and see what he does with it. Maybe it'll be brilliant. I hope.
We'll see. Yeah.
I hope it doesn't turn into like a Wano thing where we're just constantly shitting on it.
No, I agree totally.
Yeah.
All right, so a little bit of a longer review today, I think, but it was a very good chapter and a lot of good thoughts and discussion here today. So
yeah,
please like and subscribe if you have not. Leave your comments below, your thoughts on the chapter and the chapter review, and we will see you all soon. I'll probably have a lot of theory videos coming out soon. See ya.
See ya.